Hello, I'm Beau Henderson. Welcome back to Rich Retirement TV. You just caught me reading a great article by Mari Backman on The Motley Fool, and she brought up some great points about mistakes that we need to avoid when it comes to our 401k. So let's talk about what mistakes can we avoid when it comes to our 401k. Now, why are we talking specifically about the 401k? Because for many Americans, that's the tool they have access to in their retirement plans at work to save money. And it's a great tool, and it's an important tool that helps, because the biggest problem we run into in the context of retirement is we're living a lot longer and we're getting to retirement without enough money saved. So when we can auto deduct out of our paychecks into a 401k over time, it can be a great tool, and it's something I recommend people use, and especially first and foremost use up to the match money. And then we go from there, whether we can save more, we go to Roth IRAs and other things like that. But what are some mistakes that we can avoid? Let's don't go another year. Let's get it right in 2020 when it comes to our 401k. One I see a lot, and one that's a huge mistake, is taking full advantage of your company's match program. Now, if you're fortunate enough that your company has matching funds, whether it's 50 cents on the dollar, dollar for dollar on a certain percentage of assets, make sure you're taking full advantage of that match. That's free money. That's money that we're not going to be able to invest in any other fund or anything else and get the same kind of return as free money. You would be amazed how many times when I'm having these conversations in my office, when we sit down and talk about what's the match that you're worth, and people will come back and say, there's a match, but I'm not really sure what that formula is. And often, unfortunately, we'll look at it and people are leaving 2, 3, 4, 5% of free money, free match money on the table that they could be getting. Now, we ran a scenario once that it really stood out to me. We looked at what was the impact of not getting the full match and it growing and compounding over 30 years of a person's working career, and it was hundreds of thousands of dollars of difference, right? That's money you could use to spend and live in retirement. That might even be money that allows you to retire a little bit sooner, which I know a lot of people, as we get closer, we like that idea. So make sure you're taking full advantage of that match. Now, once we get the match, then the conversation goes, what do we do next? And that could be fund a Roth IRA. That could be, once the Roth is funded, go back to the 401k or other investments. But first thing, first level of priority, and that's why it was our first topic today, take full advantage of any company match that you have access to. The next piece I'd like to talk about is pay attention to the fees in your 401k plan. And how you can do that is, think about this. Most funds, they're broken down into categories. It could be large company funds. It could be mid-sized companies, small companies, international companies. And most of the time, these funds are relatively efficient. And what I mean by that is, a hot fund one year kind of tends to pull back to the mean or the average in subsequent years. So they tend to kind of do about the same thing over long periods of time. So one of the things we can control is, we can go into, say there's 6 or 7 options of large US company funds in our 401k plan. We can look at those 6 or 7 options and see which one has the lowest fees. And sometimes you'll see a huge range from almost no fee, say 0.025, to funds with maybe 2% fees. That's a huge difference over time in your net return and the money that you'll grow and keep and be able to use in retirement. So pay attention to fees. And one of the things we can do there is look for index funds. Index funds are a great way to have access to market averages over time during our accumulation years, but making sure we're minimizing fees as well. There was another aspect that I wanted to touch on, and it was knowing the actual contribution limits. This is a change for 2020. Last year, you could save, everybody could put up to $16,000 if they were maxing out their 401k into their plan. Now, if you're 50 or over, you could put an additional $6,000. Now, what's new for 2020, we've got a bump. In 2020, you can put $16,500 into your 401k plan. And if you're over 50 years old, you can now put an additional $6,500 in that plan. So for somebody that's north of 50, maybe trying to play catch up and is in the position to do so, you can put as much money as $26,000 in that 401k plan. So again, a great savings tool. Again, the thing to know is what are those limits? Am I taking advantage? And then the last piece, this is the mistake that we don't want to make. It's, are we saving more this year in our plan than we were last year? And the reason I say that, are we making progress? Are we earmarking raises or cost of living adjustments, saying, hey, whenever I have an increase or more money's coming in, I'm earmarking a portion of that to increase my retirement savings over time? And when we think about that, it reminds me of what very early on in my career, I was running a retirement plan for a healthcare system. And what I would run into when I was talking to participants about saving in their 401k, I remember there was kind of two kinds of people. I would have a conversation. A lot of people, when they were young and starting out early saving, I would try to get them to at least start saving $25 a paycheck, right? And I would plant the seed that $25 a paycheck, anytime there's a cost of living adjustment, an annual raise, let's bump that up by $25. Let's try to keep that going. And I got a lot of people started on that plan, but even beyond that, I saw two types of people. I saw people that 5-10 years down the road, the first group would stick with that. They were saving $25 more a year, $25 more a year, maybe $50 more a year, and say we get 5 years down the road, and now all of a sudden, that starting with 25, they incrementally adjusted it, and they're saving $400 or $500 a paycheck now. And guess what happened to the other group? The other group, they started with a 25, they got it started, and that was good, but they were telling themselves a story that I really can't afford to increase it until I can afford to do $400 or $500 a month. So they missed all those years and all that time and all that compounding and the power of that money growing for them and working for it over that time. So again, I just want to bring that up and be specific. It's not everybody is in the position to max out, put $26,000 in a plan to catch up. But can we do a little bit more? Can we take a step? Can we do 1% more if that's what we can do? And we can focus on the phrase, it's progress, not perfection. At least we're heading in the right direction. So those are 4 mistakes that if we can avoid those or address those in 2020, we're going to have more success with our retirement savings, planning, and avoid those traps that a lot of people fall prey to when it comes to their 401k plans. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is just specific for 401ks. We could talk about IRAs. We could talk about so many topics when it comes to your retirement planning. Let me know what questions you have. If you'll look in the comments below, we have a retirement success guide that you can access right there. And please be sure to subscribe to this channel. Let us know, what are the things you want to know more about? What are the things that might apply to you that you want us to dig deeper on? What are your specific questions? And we'll answer those. We'll get the experts in here. We'll bring the resources. We'll bring the tools to give you what you need to successfully navigate retirement. I look forward to seeing you next time right here on Rich Retirement TV. I'm Beau Henderson signing off, and see you soon.